Hello and welcome to episode 68 of the Youth Intake Challenge. We've got the intake and let's get into it and see what we've got. Hopefully we'll get a big improvement this time. And welcome back. So here we go. Quick look at the league table. We'll have a quick look at the schedule, a couple of other bits and bobs before we get into the intake. So currently we're sat 12th in the league. We've got 8 games to go. 41 points, 6 points behind Southampton, who are in 6th. Bit of a surprise them being up so high. A look at Wolves flying high at the top as well, so there's a few changes. We're doing well. We're safe from relegation. We've done better than last season with 8 games to go, so we've had a fantastic run really, and we'll look at that in a minute. But there's still an outside chance of us getting into Europe. Not done so well in the cups. We didn't get the cup run we wanted. We did win a couple of games that maybe we shouldn't have, but we got knocked out, and we're just going to wait till next season. Looking at the spread as a whole, we've won 11, lost 11, so it's a fairly even split. Only drawn 8. But still need to turn some of them losers into draws and some of them draws into wins if we're going to really push up towards the top end of the table. But what I would say is it's forward progress, and that's all you can really ask for. In terms of the vision, still devastated by the transfer budget. We're not spending it. Again, it's part of the challenge, so work within the wage budget. We're well on course. Minimum 3-year contracts for first team players. We generally do that anyway. Developing the best youth system in the country. They're pleased. We're doing pretty well in that. Avoiding relegation. Pleased, which we're going to escape. And we were competitive in both cups, even though we didn't make it till the last stages. So pretty good. Playing defensively solid football. We've improved on that. They were devastated previously. Now they're satisfied. Pleased with the possession football, and they're delighted with the making most of set pieces and the high tempo. So most notable highlights: delighted with the positive atmosphere in the changing room, pleased with the support in the squad, and delighted to establish the club in the Premier League much earlier than expected. Finance-wise, 252 million, which is fantastic. The higher that goes, I think it's more likely we'll get the stadium. We've been pushed back numerous times now. You can probably see it in the vision how many times I've asked them, but keep asking for a new stadium. They've turned down the latest attempt at an affiliate club as well, which hasn't been great. I don't know if it'll let me do it again. It will, so let's go for it again. What do we want? We want an affiliation with the club that can provide foreign use. They think we've already got enough. Do we think we'll be left behind? I'm going to put lack of ambition. Yeah, he's not going for it just now. We'll leave it. We'll come back again in the future. In terms of the club info, Premier Division, professional status, all doing really well. But that capacity 13,500 stadium is so far away from what we need in the Premier League. It's incredible. We probably need to be minimum 30,000, so it's more than double if we're really going to make any kind of inroads at the top end. But it was built in 2030, so it was only 16 years old. We'll just have to make do with what we got. In terms of the transfers, not really anything of note to speak of. We've let John O'Carr go out on loan to Coventry. He wasn't getting the first team football he wanted. I couldn't guarantee him games. We've kind of got a settled midfield 3, so I couldn't really give him the game time he wanted. So we put him out on loan. He might come back again next season, but it might be time to move him on. Same with Adi McAvoy. Again, he's not getting the time at centre-half he wants. He's 31 now. We've got some other players coming through, so it might be time to let them go. The rest of them, we're just kind of shipping out some free players, letting some people out on loan. If we look at the development centre, it's probably best to see how many we've got out on loan, which they're all doing great. I looked sorted by average rating, so the ones who are doing better at the minute is Lilafan Samana. He's a right-hand winger, driven, which is a great personality to have. Young Thai, 18 years old. So he's making some inroads into fulfilling his potential. We'll get him out. He's often tries killer balls. We'll get him out. He's away for a season on loan. We'll bring him back in. We're looking quite strong in certain areas of the pitch, which towards the end of this video we'll look at the comparison between what's coming through. But he's looking like a really handy player that's been out on loan. McAvoy's doing really well. Batchelor, he's having a good season as well on the left-hand side. So that's 2 future wingers coming in. He's 17 years old. At Luton tagging him a red bridge. I know you can't read too much into it because the standard of football he's playing at, but massive number of players out on loan that we can bring back at some point. In terms of the under-21s, which is where most of the loan players are, again, we've filtered it by potential there. You can see we've got Benedict Joseph, Batchelor, Buckaroo, Carter, Dynan, Samana, Liebird, Strid, all in that kind of 4 to 4.5 star potential. Then we've got some just slightly behind that, and then down the bottom of the players that we're really going to need to kind of move on. So some really good players coming through, which are going to develop the squad really good. Numerous positions, which is helpful as well. In terms of the under 18s, again, there's a few more in there. Richardo Duncan, he looks like he's going to be an absolute worldie of a goalkeeper. Again, another driven personality, which seems to be the best personality we've got at club at the minute, is the driven personality. Whether we get anything better in the intake, we'll dive deep into shortly and see. But again, we're doing really well. Some more 4.5 to 5 star players coming through. In terms of the squad itself, we can see the spread of 3.5 upwards. We've got about 7 players in there. Sarkoda we've tied down for a longer term contract. Montel, Clifford, again we've got him for another couple of years, probably need to look to renew that. Oviehan, he's recently signed a contract, so a couple of players up there into the 2050 realms, and that's what we kind of need to do. I'm going to go through them and give them a good scrub as we do the intake, just to make sure the higher potential players are going to be a long term, especially the ones that have got the better personalities, like the driven. I don't think we've got some fairly professionals in there, but I don't think we've got anything else. I also might need to settle the view on here to include their personalities if we're going to make the most of potential drives going forward. But that seems to be enough of the waffle through the filler bits. So let's get to the youth intake and see what we've got. I have had a quick glimpse. You'll be pleased to know that we have a number of elite talents. So again, the decent talents we'll start with, these are the ones that are only up to maybe 1-2 star. We've got a right or left winger, Jack Clark. He's again a balanced personality. We're not going to waste any time on him. I don't think he's got. I mean, he's not very tall. He's not particularly quick, and I just think we're going to give him a miss. As with Maxwell Frimpong, Ghanaian centre forward, and I do love a good foreign forward, but again, I don't think it's worth taking a punt on him. He's even slower. He's got some good acceleration, but I just think he's got too much of an outline distance to try and make up, and he's got a temperamental personality. Maybe if he'd had a really good, well-driven personality, we would take a punt on him. Takashi Yoshida, don't know if that's from our Japanese feeder club, more than likely, although he's English nationality. Inverted winger on the right hand side, up to 3 star. He's got a sporting personality. Physicals look okay. He doesn't look terrible. Sporting personality. But I think when we've got Samana and some of the other players on the right hand side, it's probably not worth us taking Yoshida on. So I'm going to give him a miss. Farrell Morgan, central midfielder on the left. Really flat base stats. Fairly determined, but again, not even in the right position. So I'm sorry, Farrell, you're going to have to miss out. Jose Manuel Calvo, a good, plays either side at fullback. He's a realist. Left-footed, but prefers the right back. Okay, dives into tackles. We're gonna give him a miss. That puts us up into the top talents, which we're probably gonna take all these on. We'll start with Mike Halliday, a central defender, which is something I was asking for at the previous intake. We didn't get 195 centimeters, so he's really good, tall. Low determination might be a bit of an issue, but he's got the potential at least up to 3 stars, so we'll probably keep him as a filler, develop him, see if he can exceed that kind of benchmark that he's got. Maybe the personality of the squad through the mentoring will rub off on him and we can get a bit more improvement. But Mike Halliday, certainly not a terrible player, good height for a centre-back. We will sign him up. Who else have we got? Samson Ogachukwu, another centre-half. Could we have another giant on us? No. He's 176, unambitious, dives into tackles. Not very good positioning. What do we do with him? Not even. I'm going to give him a miss. I don't really see the point of investing. He's too far away. 15. Strength 2. Do we take a gamble and just use him as a filler? Not sold on Samson Ogachukwu. We'll have a look. Next we got Cape Verde and Kelton Neves, right winger. dribbling, finishing, first touch looks alright. He's more of an inside forward, so that's probably quite good. Gets into the opposition area, cuts in from both wings, which is weird because he doesn't play on the left, but never mind, we'll let that slide. Quite short. Again, we'll take him on. He's a realist. Not sure how that'll play out in terms of his personality. Rafferty Rolls, good alliteration of the name there. Pressing forward. 1.5 star current ability, so good physicals, balanced personality, good work rate, which is good, which you want in your pressing forward. Passing's alright. So a bit of a bland player. I don't think he's exceptional, but we'll take him on and see what we can do with him. Josh Jones and Mezzala in the middle of the pitch. Always good to have some centre midfielders because we lose them quite quickly, and we play with 3 in the middle, so it's always good to have a good pool with them. Quite good mental stats to start with, good technique, not particularly quick, gets into the opposition's area, light hard personality. So again, another one of them, nothing to scream out about, but he probably will get some appearances in the first team at some point. On to the elite talents then. So we've got 6. We'll start with defensive midfielder Jamu Giwa, which is quite a good name. I don't know if he's got a second nationality. We'll maybe check that in a minute. And he's a perfectionist, so I'm liking this already. He's a perfectionist. He's got a really good set of mental stats that jumps out straight away. Not quite so good in the physicals. In fact, he's got nothing even in a double figure, but his tackling technique's good, and he can take a free kick. So he's a defensive midfielder, which might mean we revert. I say revert. We don't actually change to an advanced midfielder. We'll have to see. It'll take him a couple of years to develop, but we'll have a look. Information-wise, yeah, Nigerian, so he's got a Nigerian nationality. So Jamu Giwa, certainly the best of them so far. Perfectionist, the first one we've had in the squad. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops. We had some comments previously in one of the earlier episodes saying that perfectionist is one of the better traits for your youth development, your head of youth development. Whether that's what's led to this, I'm not sure, but we'll take it and we'll see what we can do with it. So Jamu Giwa is a star of the future. Dimitrios Tsiviginidis, it's easy for me to say, we'll call him Dimitri, maybe. Attacking midfielder on right winger, but he's more natural up front. So determination's great. Well, personality's determined, so there you go. There's a fine match. Good technique. Pretty good physicals. Mental actually. Has he got finishing, first touch, and dribbling? Not great. What does he play? Pressing forward. I quite like him. Probably. He's quite pacey, and he can kind of cross. We might develop him as a winger. We'll have a see. Again, I think I'm quite excited about it. The first 2 so far from the elite talents have looked pretty good. I think they've got a real future at the club. Next one, we got Seamus Byrne or Bayern, Mazzala centre mid, which we like. Balanced personality, good technique from the word go, brave, good work rate, doesn't dive into tackles. So quite happy with him. I think he looks like he's a really well-rounded player. He's going to fit nicely into the kind of midfield 3 we've got. I don't think it'll take him too long to get in and about the squad. So that's 3 from 3 so far. Josh Harris, a Welsh attacking midfielder. Again, good technique, realist. Comes deep to get the ball, tries to play the way out of trouble. So he's a bit of a passer, or his passing's not great. Good vision, good flair, good decisions, and a good first touch. So again, he's the counter to maybe going for a more attacking formation as we move forward. But again, all of them so far have looked pretty good. Next, we got Alex Solken, a wing back on the right. He can play any of them 3. He's not naturally in the full-back position, but let's take a look. Fairly loyal, good physicals, good mental attributes, good on the teamwork, gets forward where possible, which is ideal for a wing back. Good tackling. So again, I think he looks like he's going to be a pretty good player. Alex Solken, so that's 5 from 6, and then we finish off with Luke Lynch, another goalkeeper. We seem to breed them. 15-year-old. I don't think he looks as good as some of the ones that have come through in recent years. He's tall, 188 centimeters, realist, but it's that's a great bunch. I'm not sure we quite got 3 strikers out of that. and I'm not sure the preview was entirely accurate, but that's a really good bunch of players to bring in. What I'll do is I'll give them some contracts. I'll spin on a few days until they've all signed, and then I'll feed them into the squad planner and see if I can bring up a view of what we're going to look like in the years to come, and step us through that before we end the episode. So stick around, and we'll see how they measure up against the rest of the squad. Welcome back. So I've signed the new intake. I think we're 11 players all told, and actually I took a punt on the player. I said I wasn't going to sign, but in the end I did. So if I just filter him back in, because it was Yoshida on the right hand side. He should be in here somewhere if I can find him. There we go, Takashi Yoshida. It was recommended by the coach to take a punt on him, so we took him as an extra. Whether he develops into something, I'm not sure, but it's always worth taking a little punt, especially if your coaches think maybe they see something in him, because that's ultimately what they're paid for. They're the ones with the judging potential, etc. in there. So going back to squad planner, what I've done is I've included all the young players with high potential within the squad planner now, and I can change the view so you can see what the potential is. So looking at the goalkeepers, we're looking really healthy for a number of years now. We've got Felix Ibrahim as the first choice, currently on 3.5 stars. But behind him, we've got Fehim Kutlu, Ricardo Duncan, both 5-star potential, and then Jeremiah Dinan and Luke Lynch at 4.5 stars. So again, that's a massively good spread of goalkeepers. There's 5 in there. We can afford to sell a couple and develop them if we need funding. I can't see it being a problem. But even if we did lose one, we've got some good backups coming in. So a goalkeeper well taken care of. In terms of left back, we've got Onyango as the first choice, but coming up quite quickly now. We've been lacking on fullbacks for a while. We've got Josh Harris, Frank Bakuru and Jesper Strid all coming through. Quite young, but 2 of them at 1.5 stars already. Harris has picked up quite a nasty injury. He's out to be for 3 or 4 months with a damaged spine. We've sent him to the specialist and we'll see what happens. But Onyango, I'm not going to say his days are numbered, because he's still the best of the 4 at the minute, but you can see we've got some really high potential players coming in behind him. Equally so on the right hand side, Coleman slipped down the pecking order now. Brustad's taken over as the first choice, but they're very, very close between the two of them. And then we've got Bakuru and Strid, who can play either side, coming in behind. So again, that will be 4 really good fullbacks on either side, bringing us into the next few seasons. At centre half, this is one of the areas we are struggling somewhat. We've got Clifford and Haviland, who are clear first choices. Matt Mulligan's just put in a transfer request because he's not getting the game time he wants. However, he's our 4th choice and we rotate them 3, so he's probably going to get sold and moved on, and then that will enable us to bring in James Carter, Nyasha Bisecki and Mike Halliday, who's just come through the latest intake. So 3 that need to develop quite quickly to start fitting in with them 4. But what you can see is we don't have anyone 4.5 to 5 star in at centre half, which is causing us a bit of a problem, but that's an area for us to hopefully get some benefit from in the future. Or maybe some of these players can develop slightly harder than they're originally anticipated to. But still not weak, but it's probably still our weak area. Defensive midfielder, Oviahan, standout best player at the minute. He's 23 years old. Not far behind him is Robbie Harris, who's had a number of seasons out on loan, most recently at Blackburn. Then you've got Jamiu Giwa, who's our perfectionist, looking to come through. I think long term he probably will fit into that bracket. And then we've got Mark Smart and Seamus Byrne from the latest intake coming through as well. So from that defensive midfield position, we've actually got quite a bit of strength in depth in there. Initially, we've got Oviahan and Harrison to rotate through, but I don't think it'll take Giwa too long to get in there. And we've also got Smart and Byrne as well. So good in defensive midfielder. Centre midfielder on the right, we've got Ahmed Sakodi, who you can see is now labelled as a Wonderkid. So we've got another Wonderkid in our midst, gusting up towards 100 million now. So looking at him, he's got up to 5-star potential. We've got Jody Mandan, who's in there. He's at one time he was the best player at the club by a country mile, but he's starting to fade back a little bit now. But we've got Bostwick, Houghton, Canderton in there, and then Taylor J. Rivers and Seamus Byrne to come in as well. So quite strong in the centre midfield. We've got the 2 positions in centre midfield. That right hand side's are more attacking, whereas the left hand side's more defensively minded, which is why Jody Mandander's up at the top of that tree. But Bostwick, Canderton, Houghton, Sarkodie, Rivers and Byrne make up the 7 who kind of will filter between them 2 slots with the 3 in behind. So again, midfield's looking quite strong. Out on the right hand side, Silverio, the current front runner, but he's got lots of players hot on his heels now. Tom Houghton, more of an attacking wide midfielder than anything else, and then we got Ben Ababakar, Samana, and Svigindis or Dimitri on that right side. So I mean, that's 5 high potential players coming in behind. I mean, Houghton might well move into that advanced midfielder in the centre, depending if we change formation. But what it does show is, again, really good strength and depth coming through. And then on the left-hand side, probably a little bit more. So we're quite strong on the left as well. You can see a huge number of players coming through. Oza still is the number 1 first-team starter on there, but Remy Lippmann, who's played a number of games this season, is quickly coming up behind. It won't be long before he surpasses him, I don't think. Benedict Joseph out there as well, currently out on loan, but he's going to come back and challenge for a place. Ababakar, Batchelor, Harrison, and do a little bit further behind in terms of their development, but looking really good. And then up front, which again, one of the areas like centre-half, we've not blessed with too many that are fulfilling their potential. Roldan's picked up an injury, he'll be out for a little while, but only 4 to 9 days. He's currently our first choice, but we've got Pepper and Primus coming up behind. We've got Richard Ward, Dimitri, Brian Moore, Liebird and Adam Bent. So lots of players to choose from in there. They're not all going to make it into being the first choice strikers, but what it does is it gives us options. And whether we change this, whether we go 2 up top, maybe we bring a midfielder up and play a bit more attacking. Maybe we play 2 defensive and 1 attack out. I'm not sure how that's going to break down. We'll see how the players develop, but the future's looking bright. I think the last few intakes have been really good. They've rounded the squad off nicely, and it's just about getting through the next couple of seasons while they develop before we start challenging further and further up the league, because the more little wonder kids we get like Ahmed Sarkodi, if we can keep a hold of them and develop a few at the same time, who knows how far we can go, and maybe we can finally get right up towards the top end of the table where we can maybe win a trophy and complete the challenge. So hopefully that served as a great update. The intake's been fantastic. There's lots to look forward to. Nothing more so than our new perfectionist in the squad and the development of our new wonder kid Ahmed Sarkodi. So I'll finish off the season. I'll get to the end of the season review and the preview to the next season to see who comes back challenging off their latest loan spells. And the future looks bright for the Mighty Dulwich. Until next time, enjoy your saves, enjoy your games. I'll see you soon.